Right, hello lads and lasses, and welcome back to Boys Down Under, where today we are going to be looking at the players from the Scottish Premiership that Celtic could look at taking a bite out of in the January transfer window. Yes, I know it is another transfer video in October, but we need to start playing the early game, and the best way to play the early game is to be well prepared before the time. And I don't have much more to say. I'm sorry for not wearing my Celtic kit. Instead, I'm wearing a Just Tube hoodie that my mate gave me because it's bloody freezing in Sydney right now. I know that's pretty ironic saying this when in Scotland and the UK we're heading into winter time, but nonetheless, it is freezing here. So pardon the jumper. But remember to subscribe to the channel. We're to keep on going. We're pushing forward with all you subscribers who are new to the channel. I love each and every one of you. We're trying to hit 2,000 now. So remember to like and subscribe, but without further ado, let's get into it. So, like I said, these are going to be domestic players. These are going to be the players all ready for playing for a club in the Scottish Premiership. And these players are ones that Celtic, more so than others, could definitely have a dig at trying to sign in January. Now, the first player, and this is one personally I would love to see at Celtic, it's St Mirren's own Jamie McGrath. Now, McGrath joined the Baggies in the January transfer window of 2020 from Dundalk in the Republic of Ireland League. And since then, his market value has excessively multiplied. He arrived to St Mirren with a market value of £150,000. Barrel. He now has a market value of £900,000, so still not much. But yet, it just shows the growth and improvement he's made since his time of arriving at St Mirren. He's 25 years old and he can play the cam position, but is also very capable of playing on the left and right wing due to the fact that he is two-footed. That doesn't mean he goes into tackles with 2 feet. That means he can play with both his left and right foot. Nonetheless, it is a position, the cam position, where we have Rogic. And if we don't have Rogic, we have David Turnbull. So essentially, if Rogic doesn't play, we cannot play a strong candidate in the cam role without having to compromise the rest of the midfield's quality by bringing David Turnbull up and playing someone like Ismail Soro further back in the midfield. Look, honestly, he's played in, I think, the right mid and cam spot for St Mirren this season, and he's been so impressive. He's been literally one of their best players. Currently this season, he's appeared 17 times for the Baggies. I think that's as many games as they've played in proper competitions this season. Nonetheless, he's appeared 17 times and he's had an output of 5 goals and 1 assist. That's a great output for a club that is struggling, I guess you could say, at the moment to find some form and find some wins. And back to the player. Well, McGrath, he's extremely gifted, like really gifted. When he's got the ball at his feet, he's quite unplayable. He's a bit like Rogic, just a bit more physical. So now look, here's one stat. Here's one stat I've written down in bold because it is so important to say. This was outlined by the Herald recently, and it is right. When under pressure and having the ball at his feet, Jamie McGrath hits 83% of his passes to his outline targets. In comparison, the season before, he hit 75%. So not only is that showing a growth within him as a player, but it shows that he is one of the best players under pressure in the Scottish Premiership. And when you're playing for a club like Celtic, and you might not be under pressure all the time, but when you are under pressure, you're going to have to know what to do with the ball, because that's when teams will start pressing you, and you're going to need to beat that press if you want to score goals. And look, I think it highlights a real aptitude of Jamie McGrath is that when he's under pressure, he's one of the best midfielders in the Premiership. He's like Tom Rogic. I said this earlier. He's very much like Tom Rogic. He feeds off pressure. He has a natural aptitude for playing under pressure. And look, I think creatively speaking as well, he's very good. He's got great quick turns of pace on the ball and off the ball. And he has exceptional dribbling skills. And it's his ability to draw fouls, which just highlights what he can do when he wants to pass the ball, but what he can also do with the ball at his feet. He's one of the best midfielders in the Premiership for drawing fouls this year so far. Now, to sweeten this deal even further, McGrath's contract actually runs out at the end of this season, so of the off-season of 2022. And not only does this mean Celtic could sign him on a cut price, maybe £800,000 deal in the January transfer window, buy him outright, but we could also sign him on a pre-contract agreement, which would mean he would arrive at Celtic in the off-season for zilch, nothing, no fee whatsoever. But to be fair, however sweet that may sound, Celtic need that depth and reinforcement urgently. So I don't think that's on the cards. I think if Celtic wanted to sign him, they'd have to make a play for him in the January window to sign him permanently and give St. Mirren maybe just a bit of compensation instead of losing their best player on free in the summer. Look, my final verdict on Jamie McGrath, top player. Only 25, just about to enter his expected prime years of his career, and I feel certainly he would really shine under Ange's system. Plus, it would break the heart of my grandpa, who is a mad Baggies fan, to see his best player leave for my club, Celtic. I'm kidding, guys. I'm not really that evil, don't worry. But anyways, into player number 2. Now, this player is one who's caused Celtic a bit of strife earlier in the season. It is Heart of Midlothian's John Sutter, who, funnily enough, scored the winner against Celtic in the opening day of the season in that away game to Hearts. Now, 25 years old, Sutter is crucial, or he has been crucial to Hearts' dominant form at the start of this season. He's played both the right centre-back role in a 3-back formation and the centre-back role, so it highlights his capabilities of being able to play like a dual position sort of thing, and it just shows his quality as a defender. Now, why would John Sutter be a great signing for Celtic? Well, currently, defensively, Celtic are pish. No two ways, actually that's a bit mean. We'll say below average, quite below average. Yeah, that's a nicer way to put it, but nonetheless, you get what I mean. Celtic right now at the back are very, very, very vulnerable from set pieces and very, very vulnerable, even more so vulnerable from counter-attacks. And that is, I still put it down to the wing-backs. We'll get over to that later, but nonetheless, end of story, Celtic are vulnerable at the back. Now, despite not being the tallest bloke, Sutter stands at 6'1", and he is very similar, I think, in play style to Carter Vickers. So he's more of a physical presence rather than a tall presence, I guess you could say. Extremely physical, extremely capable in the air as well. He scored the winner against Celtic from a set piece, and it was a header in that opening day clash. And look, personally, I'd rather his younger brother, Harry Sutter, Australian international, could have represented Scotland, chose to represent Australia. He is an absolute unit, 6'4", full of muscle. Down here, we call him the Great Wall of Oz because that's literally what he is. He saves Celtic so much. And he's so young, he's only 22, but this isn't Harry Sutter praise. He's going to go off to the Premier League in January, mark my words. So, why not take his older brother, John? Now, the thing with John is that he is actually being tracked by a lot of clubs in the Championship at the moment, most notably Blackburn Rovers, also Stoke City, who are looking to fill the void of Harry Sutter's imminent leave. Now, with John's contract, his contract, like McGrath, runs out at the conclusion of the season. So Celtic do have the potential to buy him on a free transfer, pre-contract agreement, where he arrives at his contract end. Or, yet again, Celtic could sign him on a cut price deal in the January transfer window, but it will turn out to be a bidding war because, as I've stated, Stoke City and Blackburn Rovers have shown heavy interest in John Sutter. So if Celtic do want to make this deal happen, they're going to have to be prepared to be knocked back and bring other offers back. And you know what happens with the bidding wars. Not fun for the fans. Nonetheless, if given the opportunity, I think Celtic should take him. And I think if given the opportunity, he will take pride. He will take to the Celtic team very, very well. What he will provide to this backline is astronomical. He will provide strength. He will provide leadership. He will provide stability at the back. 3 things that I feel at the moment Celtic have just purely lacked. And I think that's what's led to our demise from set pieces and counter-attacks. But look, honestly, I think it's not as realistic as Jamie McGrath, but I still can see it happening in January. It would be a good signing. I don't think it would be a marquee signing, but it would definitely be a handy signing for Ange and the team. Now, into my third and final player, and we're heading back to the midfield, but not as far forward as Jamie McGrath. This time, it's box-to-box central midfield, number 8 role, currently occupied by Mr. David Turnbull. Now, despite having a lot of players in this role, Celtic have got pish players in this role. I've got pish on my mind today. I don't know why. And no players bar Turnbull are up to a good enough standard to play in that number 8 role. Callum McGregor could, but he's not very dominant and effective there as he is at CDM. Now, personally, I felt Ali McCann would have been a perfect option. I feel Celtic should have made a play for him in the summer transfer window, but he's gone off to Preston North End, I believe, for a bargain of £1 million. So I think Celtic should easily just have coughed up for him. That's a great signing nonetheless. A top box to box midfielder is hard to find, and we need one that can provide a physical presence. So I am going with Aberdeen's Lewis Ferguson. Now, Aberdeen may have had a slow start to the season, but Ferguson cannot be at fault for that slow start. He's played 14 times for Aberdeen. In the number 8 role, he has 5 goals and 1 assist, so he has great output from playing a deeper role. He's a very, very capable at set pieces. He's got great movement in the box when he's up there, and he just knows how to run the show in the midfield. I haven't watched many Aberdeen games, but from the highlights and from match gameplays, you can see the quality he has. He's always thinking 2 steps ahead of himself, and he knows what he's going to do with the ball once he receives it. Now, Ferguson, he's excellent. He's so excellent for being so young. He's 22 years old. He's literally like a David Turnbull in almost every aspect, except he's a bit stronger than David Turnbull and not as good technically, I guess you could say. But nonetheless, he would be an absolute asset to this Celtic team. I don't think anyone can disagree about this. Celtic are crying out for quality depth in every single position at the moment. Like literally, every single position. Maybe right back's a good one. Right back, maybe we don't. And maybe not the wings. But nonetheless, 9 out of 11 positions, Celtic need quality depth. Because despite having abundance of players, none of those abundant players are quality to be, starting for Celtic. But I honestly feel Ferguson hits those standards without a doubt. I feel Ferguson could easily slot into the Celtic team, put pressure on Turnbull's jersey, and if Turnbull gets injured, I would be comfortable in seeing Lewis Ferguson run out instead of him. Now, for his value, he's currently worth £2.2 million according to Transfer Market, and that is a lot of money. He's one of the more expensive midfielders in the Premiership this season. But his contract runs out in the summer of 2024, so that means he won't be able to get a cut price deal. If Celtic want to buy him, they're going to have to pay a bit of overs, even maybe £2.5 million, £3 million going that high, especially because Aberdeen are a rival team in the league. We all know that. Despite them being quite low down, they're still, considered a rival because they're in the same league, which I think is stupid, but nonetheless, Celtic would have to pay overs here. But this deal certainly is less realistic than the last two, I'd say. Maybe not as less realistic as John Sutter, but certainly I feel it would take a lot for Aberdeen to sell one of their best players in the team. We'd have to cough up a lot of money, maybe £3 million, £3.5 million, and I'm not sure Ange will want to pay that for someone in the Scottish Premiership. I feel he would want to spend that money elsewhere, like Japan or other leagues that he knows of. But nonetheless, I would be all for this deal. It would be a major coup for Celtic if this happened. And I guess we'll have to wait and see till January to see if any of these deals comes to fruition. Out of the 3, personally, I think I'd want Jamie McGrath the most. I feel that would be a very exciting deal for the Celtic fans and for the club. But, I'd be happy with all 3. I guess you can't say... That's why I've covered these plays, because these are the plays I'd want to see Celtic sign in January. But it is what it is. If there's any other players you want to see Celtic sign from the Premiership, leave it in the comments below. One player I didn't mention, but one player I don't see signing for Celtic at all is Josh Doig. I think he will go to, from Hibs, he will go to like Leicester or something. So I didn't cover that, but he would be a handy pickup as well. But that is all from me. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I enjoyed making it. I enjoyed doing the research for it. I always love, looking up players and finding their stats and stuff. It's great fun. Always happy. So remember to subscribe to the channel. Remember to leave a like. Go watch my other videos, I guess. Tell your friends and family about the channel. Click that like button. Subscribe. But until next time, hail, hail.